Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am officially moved in, not all of the way, but most of the way, and I can actually make videos again, so that'll be kind of huge. And we're going to start off with an update that just came to Forerunner very recently with 3 major buffs and or reworks and a couple other things I want to go over for a lot of undervalued heroes, specifically Malvera, Zealous, and also Lyra. These units are going to get a lot better. There's some geared storage changes all coming probably within about a month or so to global. We still have to get like the Elder buff and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure, which is going to be pretty soon. Unless that's out already. I don't really remember, I'll be honest. But basically, we're going to go over these heroes and see what's happening with their new buffs. Before I get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. It would help out the channel a lot. And yeah, I don't have much more to say. So first of all, starting with the heroes, we get Malvera. Now Malvera is already a very good tank. She is very usable in GVG. There's a lot of Lyra and Malvera defenses that are very, very, very hard to beat because there's constant pushing, pulling. But Malvera always kind of felt a little bit weaker than I wish she was. Something like Torador and as well stuff like Brokir have always been better tanks. So what do they do to change that? Well, first of all, we get the skill adjustments. Oath of the Damned, which if we go over to the game, we can pull up Oath of the Damned. Right here is the passive, which does the resentment stacks, which allows less damage to be taken, and the unyielding. And the changes being made to this is the trigger interval is reduced from 60 seconds when skilled to 55 seconds. So instead of it being a minute before she gets unyielding, 55 seconds. Not a big change, but it is still a change. And then we're getting awakening adjustments. The A1 has the shield duration increased from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Awaken 3 added extra effect during Call of the Reaper, increases max HP by 10%. When casting skills, each stack of resentment consumed additionally increases max HP by 2%. If you want to look at what the A3 already looks like, I know most of us don't have A3. I mean, hell, on this account, I don't even have any Malveras. But this makes it so that less damage is taken, and after Call of the Reaper ends, loses HP equal to evenly shared remaining damage 1 time per second. Instead, we're going to get a little bit of extra HP, max HP, and that'll be pretty good there. It's not a change that'll affect many people, but it is still a change. And then the A5 is each enemy kill increases the hero's max HP by 2%, stacking up to 10 times. Adjusted to each enemy kill increases the hero's max HP and damage reduction by 1, stacking up to 10 times. Take a little bit less damage, which is good. I mean, 10% less damage taken is huge, but it takes a while to get because you have to kill enemies, which can't always happen, because Malvera does damage, but not a lot of damage. And then we get an issue that is fixed. We are also getting better pathfinding logic for Anora. So if you use Anora, maybe she targets weird, it's hopefully going to be better. We're going to get Beatrix with the same thing, better pathfinding logic for summon units, which is good. And then we get to the biggest series of buffs and reworks in Zealous. Now, Zealous, for those of you guys who don't know, is one of the single worst units in the entire game. He had a little bit of use at the beginning of the game when there wasn't a lot of AoE damage options, and, you know, people were struggling with like 118. Personally, I used Zealous on my 119 clear almost 2 entire years ago, and he actually helped because its exclusive artifact does pseudo anti-heal. But in the current climate of this game, Zealous, in my opinion, is the worst legendary in the entire game and desperately needs a buff, which is exactly what he's getting. So to start off, we get Running Sticks, which is the ultimate. The burst damage multiplier for on activation, it's going from 120% up to 180%, which is a pretty substantial change. And then the continuous damage multiplier is going from 60% to 90%. This is a big increase. Is it a big enough increase to make him relevant? Probably not, but any buff is a good buff, right? This is better than leaving him as is. Next, we're getting to Soul Corruption, which is vulnerability magic damage inflicted on all enemies within the ground area effect, or the ground effect area. has been enhanced from 14% to 20%. Wait, am I reading that right? He has 14% vulnerability? What the heck? Is he the only character in the entire game that has a vulnerability like this? Ugh. Okay, well that's getting buffed. It's getting 6% more, which is good. 14% is baffling. That she's allowed at 14%. Oh god. And then we're getting awakening changes. The A1 makes it so that the ground effect area created by basic attack lasts 1 second longer. Has changed to ground effect area created by basic attack lasts 1 second longer. And when the ground area effect damages enemy units, it does 50% slow. So the A1's actually going to have pretty good slow effects. So he might actually be a decent slow option. Probably not the best, but he's an option. And then we're getting exclusive artifact changes. Its effect is changing from damage increase plus 15%, and we get the anti-heal in the ultimate, to damage increase is 25%, and it goes up with the levels, which is consistent with how it should be, and during the ultimate inflicts anti-healing, which seems to me like it is 100% anti-healing. So now, Zealous is becoming a unit that you can anti-heal with. I'm not gonna say more accessible because he's still legendary, but now there will be 3 big anti-healers, which is huge, as long as you have Zealous's exclusive, and he's getting more damage and a slow, which is good. I still think he's a really bad legendary, but once again, this is a big change for him. He's currently the worst legendary in the entire game, and now maybe in Gear Dungeon 1 or Gear Raid 1, instead of, you know, being kind of gated a little bit because you don't have Artemis and you don't have Lyra, and that's kind of all you can use. Well, Demi too, but Demi's kind of rare. Now you can use something like a Zealous. Now, Artemis is still going to be better, but maybe Zealous will even be better than Lyra. Who knows? Lyra's not very good either. But you get what I mean, right? It's a decent change, decent buff, and he's still trash. But, you know, it is a change, right? Moving on, we get Kagiri fixed an issue where activating his ultimate and immediately triggering parry could sometimes prevent the ultimate from ending early. This is such a good change. In Abyss, this happens to be all the time. You will ult with Kagiri, he'll trigger, and his ultimate will still wind down. So we'll still use the full duration of the ultimate. If you know anything about Kagiri, he's supposed to detonate it instantly, and then it'll no longer be there and he can gain rage later. So in Abyss, when I'm trying to do pixel perfect timings and really, really fine-tuned runs, having this happen bricks the entire run and I have to redo it because I can't get to his ult in time. Super, super annoying. Super glad that's being fixed. That's probably my favorite change of the whole update. Then we're getting Ymrit, fixed an issue where basic attack occasionally had inconsistent attack timing. Lyra, same thing. We're getting some Neja changes, optimized the tag, removed true damage since Neja's true damage skill is at Awaken 3, added AoE physical damage. It's just a tooltip change. I don't think it actually changes anything because it says specifically tag. And then we get to Lyra. Now, Lyra is also one of those really underpowered units. She's not that bad. I mean, in Guild Boss 2 and in some cases Abyss, she's actually pretty solid. I mean, you could hit 60k in Abyss using her. I wouldn't recommend it. There's better options, but she does definitely work. But she's not that great, so a buff is good. Now we're getting Rift Resonance, which is when meteors from the ultimate hit, if at least one cosmic rift exists, grants 25% attack increase to the hero for 10 seconds. If 2 exist, dispel a buff. Now, they're granting 35% attack increase, which is kind of huge, and they're extending it to 15 seconds, and dispels a buff. So no longer is it gated by cosmic rifts, so you can have ultimates that barely even do anything. It's just straight up an improvement, and it gets rid of some of the conditional effects, which is amazing. It's not a crazy change by any means. She's not going to be super SSS meta, but that is a very, very good change. Next, we're getting Celestial Confluence. Bonus disappears after attacking different enemies. Its bonus decreases by 1 stack each after attacking a different enemy, which is good. Makes it so that she stays stronger for longer. And the talent, Cosmic Rift duration increased from 15 seconds to 18 seconds, which is pretty good. For summons, you want as many as possible. And the A3 is giving an additional effect on top of what is already, where they will inflict stun for 1 second on hit. We're also getting some new storage systems, which is a new storage entrance to the main interface. It includes all the hero previews, gear storage, blah, 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 blah. And in the hero previews, you can perform operations like remove all gear and artifacts from all heroes. This is something people have been asking for a very, very long time. Great change. In the gear and artifact storage, you could perform batch operations such as batch enhancement, batch lock, unlock, and sell, and optimize the categorization for certain things. The only issue is it looks kind of ugly. Please get away, packs. If I remember correctly, I saw an image where it looked very ugly. I can't show it. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see how that looks when it does come out. Either way, some good changes in there as well. And then we're removing the drop of legendary psychic powers and its shards from Drake's Chasm Abyss 1. No longer do you have to deal with psychic powers in Abyss. This is also going to increase the chance of gems, summons, and soul stones to be dropped because there will be less things in the pool. This is probably the best change of the entire thing, is removing legendary psychic power drops. Added hero ratings to Tower of Deception, Malver calls, who cares? Added 500 more slots to gear storage, which is great. I'm running out of space. I know a lot of people are. And with the new feature that they added, which is actually really, really good, where when you're farming, you can actually have it auto sell non-recommended gear. You shouldn't really be getting full very, very fast anymore, which is huge. Okay, that's something that was always very annoying for me, very time consuming. That will be gone relatively with the increased gear storage and less farming taking up your slots, and then optimized animation effects for Malver calls. So Malvera changes are good. They're nothing crazy, obviously, but she was already pretty good, mostly awakenings. We have Zealous, who is getting a new niche for him with the anti-heals. It's good, it's going to give people more uses, but if you're a late game player, you're not really going to care. But you have to say it's undeniably good that they're giving attention to older, more bad units. Kagiri change, really good for me personally, and then Lyra is going to get a decently large amount better, which is good. We're getting the remove all gear and artifacts and stuff. And then the big thing is the gear slots and removing legendary psychic powers. That is huge. That is huge. The biggest issue with a lot of endgame content of this game, and I'll make a video on more of these issues now that I have time. One of the biggest things is when you actually get to endgame stuff, the rewards are just simply not there. I mean, I've been doing 60k Abyss every day for a while, and I haven't gotten a soulstone. Well, maybe I've gotten one total. And apart from that, like, there's no diamonds, there's nothing really that good from doing something that only a handful of people can do, right? So it's kind of a little bit rough there, so that'll be a great change. Anyways, I know there's a couple other things they should be addressing in the future, like Malver hauls. I know people have been having a problem with. The stamina restrictions are really dumb. That's all a topic for another video, which I will cover. But for now, that's what we have. A net positive upgrade, update in I think every way. And that'll hopefully be coming pretty soon. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And that's it for me, Destined, signing out.